Now you can see in letter B, one of the causes of their concern was that, as I said earlier, yet only the northern states, only the Union states are in Congress right now. You had a very small number of Democrats in Congress. Republicans at that time were was the party of civil rights. For African Americans, it was the party of Lincoln. Democrats were defending the powers of states, and you had a very small number of Democrats in the House and the Senate in the spring of 1866, because all of the Southern Democrats were still under Union occupation, or were not admitted to Congress yet. So in letter B, you can see James Garfield's concern is that, okay, when these states are accepted back into the Union and have this huge influx of Democrats back into Congress, it would be a very simple matter for them to repeal the Civil Rights Act of 1866 by majority vote. And so he wants to guard against that. He wants this to be a more permanent part of our system. And so he's saying, okay, this is why we need to put it actually into the Constitution. If we can put this requirement that states protect person and property of all in the Constitution, that even if you get a large number of Democrats in Congress, they won't be able to repeal it. But notice also what he's saying here, and this is going to be crucial to what I'm going to suggest to you, is that the Civil Rights Act, if this book is the Civil Rights Act of 1866, what he's saying is, okay, we need to put this beyond the reach of the Democratic Party when they come back into power. So we're going to take this great and good law, the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and we're going to put it in the eternal firmament of the Constitution. And where it's beyond the reach of political parties to get rid of. You'd have to repeal this amendment, which is very difficult to do, by another amendment, 2/3 of both houses of Congress, 3/4 of the states. But his point is that it's the same thing. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the 14th Amendment are the same in the rights that they guarantee. Section 1 of the 14th Amendment guarantees the same rights as the Civil Rights Act of 1866, namely the rights of person and property. Now, letter C, Broomhall, is showing us another reason why they're proposing the 14th Amendment. As I said, if the Civil Rights Act of 1866 turns out to be unconstitutional because Congress doesn't have the authority to pass it, then it goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court declares it unconstitutional, and again, the African Americans are unprotected in their person and property, whether it's repealed or declared unconstitutional. But if you put this in the Constitution, if the 14th Amendment requires states to protect person and property, then it's in the Constitution. It's not unconstitutional and is more permanent that way. Letter D says the same thing. This possibility, Raymond is saying, I don't think Congress has the authority, so that's why we're going to propose this amendment and make it constitutional, this requirement. But notice in C and D, both of them are saying that the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the first section of the 14th Amendment are identical in the rights they guarantee. Broomhall in letter C says, the fact that all who will vote for the pending measure voted for this proposition in another shape, so the section 1 of the 14th Amendment is the pending measure, and the Civil Rights Act is the same proposition in another shape. So he knows that it's already passed through Congress as the Civil Rights Act, so it's also going to pass through Congress as an amendment. And in letter D, Raymond says the same thing. Although the bill became a law and is now upon our statute book, it's again proposed to amend the Constitution as to confer upon Congress the power to pass it. So same rights. Latham of West Virginia says this very explicitly. The Civil Rights Bill, which is now a law, covers exactly the same ground as this amendment. Namely, guarantees the rights of life, liberty, property, person and property. I've also, in the textbook, if you want to pursue this further, have many, many quotations. I spent a long time reading the deliberations of Congress about the 14th Amendment, the Civil Rights Act. And in their discussions of the 14th Amendment, many people in the House and Senate make this very explicit, that they understand that they're guaranteeing the same rights. So what I'm trying to prove here, or give a lot of evidence to support the idea, is that the 14th Amendment guarantees only the rights of person and property, life, liberty, and property, that sacred triangle that we've been studying.